big day tomorrow, as it is the return leg of AC Milan and Red Star Belgrade played in Milan. Just to refresh everyone's memory, first match in Belgrade finished 2-2 with a dramatic draw at the end of the match. Milan Pavko scoring a header kind of over Donnarumma, I guess, if you want to call it that, just out of his reach. Really exciting game, despite, even if you took out the 4 goals, 2 goals called back, 2 penalties, sending off a red card, own goals, mistakes, all kinds of stuff went on in the first tie. So it's a very entertaining match to watch, and it just sucks that fans weren't at the Rajko Mitic Stadium to actually watch the match live, because it was very entertaining, a lot more entertaining than honestly what I thought was going to happen. So going into this match, as most people already know, no Milunovic, no Rodic, no Bakayoko. I think that's about it, because Ivanic has flown with the team, and so has Katai. So there is that, but very short-handed in that sense. And it's going to be very tough, obviously. AC Milan is a very good team. Also, what I like to point out is AC Milan lost 3-0 to Inter Milan on Sunday, I believe it was. So they're in a little bit of a downward spiral, considering how good their season started off. I think they're still in the top 3 in Serie A, but they were really competing to win the Scudetto, I guess, this season. And it's kind of taken a bit of a hit with what's happened to them in the last 3 or 4 matches in all competition. So they're riding a little bit of a winless streak, which obviously isn't good going forward. But they're a great team, and they're gonna come out and obviously put a very good performance out. I have no doubt in that. From Red Star's perspective, what they did in the first match was exceptional. In the second match, they have to keep the shots coming. They had 21 shot attempts in the first leg. 7 were on target, 7 were off target, and 7 were blocked, believe it or not. So 7's all across the board. So I pointed it out when I did my preview, and at the end when I did a recap. Milan gave up a lot of shots. Like, I didn't think that Red Star would. First of all, I didn't think Red Star would attack that much, and second of all, I didn't think Milan would let them have that many shots. And at the end of the day, the possession was something like 55-45. So it's fairly equal, considering what I thought it would be. If you asked me before the match, if I had to make, a guess on what the percentages would be in possession, I would say AC Milan would probably have anywhere from 60 to 65%. And, Red Star with their 25 to 35% would have to make something happen. And that's why I said, they're gonna get their chances. They just gotta use those chances, and they did for the most part, truth be told. And AC Milan themselves had 12 shots on net, which is also a decently high number. But Red Star, for the most part dealt with it, because an own goal and a penalty, it's very unlucky, if you want to say that. But then again, you look at Red Star's goals, and one was pretty much a last-second goal, and also a penalty that Romagnoli had handled the ball. In the second match, I think it's going to be very important to provide protection for the back 4. So Red Star played a 3-4-2-1 in the first match, but it's going to be 4 at the back. I'm assuming it's just going to be your regular 4-2-3-1. What I would do is provide protection for the back 4 as much as you can, because it's going to be Degenek and it's going to be Pankov, and Pankov hasn't shown the ability that he can kind of stay with the AC Milan players, which we saw in the first leg. So he had the own goal, and he was the guy responsible for bringing down Hernandez in the penalty box for the penalty kick ultimately. What I would do is I would start Sonogo and Petrovic as the 2 defensive midfielders. I understand not starting Sonogo in the first match because of his, he picks up a lot of cards, and I went over this. I think he had 9 yellows in 22 matches played in all competitions so far, which is a lot. That's almost 1 every 2 games. Now, you pretty much don't have anything to lose anymore. You just kind of pray that he doesn't pick up a red card. And even if he does pick up a yellow early, he's going to have to watch what he's doing, because, like I said before, he's prone to picking up cards, very prone to picking them up. If you do decide that he picks up a yellow and we have to sub him off, you can always move Kanga back there and you could bring on Ivanic or Katai. And I'm going to talk about Ivanic and Katai as this video goes on, and like what I expect from them and if they're going to play, start, and all that stuff. So the most important part is to get the ball to your playmakers as Red Star did in the first match. So Sanogo, if they do play with Sanogo and Petrovic as the CDMs, they're going to have to be able to make those passes to get Kanga, to get Falco, to get Ben, to get even whoever it is involved early. And they did an exceptional job of that in the first leg. The 1-2 passing didn't allow AC Milan to kind of, I guess, come back from attacking a lot, because there was a lot of 1-2 give and goes and stuff like that, which kind of throws off the opposition or the team defending, because the passes are so quick that you can't really keep up. No matter how fast you are, you really can't keep up with the passing. The only way you can really get to it is by possession. Something that I pointed out in the first leg: stay close as long as possible. Don't concede in the first 15-20 minutes. Red Star unfortunately did that in the first leg. AC Milan had 2 goals called back, which were very fortunate. Usually that never happens in matches. So it's important to stay close as long as possible. 2-2, so AC Milan at this point is going through because of the away goals. You don't want to see them score a third and a fourth and ultimately a fifth or whatever it may be, because then it just crushes the morale. You're probably not gonna be able to come back. Also, what I wanted to say is control their speed to the best of your ability. Like, I don't know if it's just that the Red Star players are slow, but AC Milan seems like they shifted into like 7th gear at some points. There was a point in the match where Red Star had a free kick literally outside of AC Milan's 18-yard box, or to the right, I believe. The free kick was taken and AC Milan hit Red Star on the counter, and they were down in the other end in like 3 or 4 seconds. Very quick players. We know that Mandzukic isn't going to be a part of the squad tomorrow, so Ibrahimovic maybe starts. We don't really know yet. And so yeah, obviously Ibra is a bit of a slower player, but you have guys like Krunic, you have guys like Rebic, you have a bunch of guys who can get it done. Kesse will probably slot in. Benacer isn't going to play, at least from what I've read thus far. His injury looks to be a little bit more serious maybe than what people had thought. And I kind of thought that right when it had happened, because every time a guy grabs his hamstring, it's never good. So as a precaution, even if he could, I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to feature on the bench. From Red Star's perspective, the passing has to be better. So they were only at 75%. A good passing percentage, or a great one, is anywhere from 82 to like 86, 87. Anything over like 87 is like great. But they have to get there, because a lot of their passes will be cut off, because there's a little bit of pressure on AC Milan as well. Because if Red Star does score first, they got to chase the result now. They got to score goals. And look, they came into chances, I think, I won't say fairly easily, but they show the ability that they can create whenever they really wanted to. And they only stopped themselves really from scoring more. So their passing, the Red Star's passing, has to be much better. And that again goes to guys like Sonogo and Petrovic, because if AC Milan cuts off those passes in the midfield in Red Star's own third, it's going to be very difficult to contain the likes of Krunic, Rebic, and the rest of the guys. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be a nightmare if you keep doing that the entire night. So what I fully expect is if the score is maybe 1-0, 2-0 at halftime for AC Milan, Stankovic will make a substitution at half. I fully believe that is going to happen. Don't give away fouls in the final third. I know AC Milan maybe didn't do a great job of forcing Red Star to foul them in Red Star's own third, but you don't want to get into that, because Çalhanoğlu, even if he starts, if he doesn't, he's going to come out at some point. You don't want to give him any free kicks. Ibrahimovic can take free kicks. Rebic can. All these guys, they can do that. Kesse too, he's like a penalty kick specialist. You don't want to give these guys any chances more than they're going to already create for themselves. Now, what I wanted to talk about is Ivanic and Katai. So it's very interesting. Ivanic picked up a knock against Spartak Subotica that Red Star won on the weekend. It was on Sunday. 2-1 after being down, 1-0 until the 81st, 82nd minute. He picked up a knock, and the reports at first were that he was not going to fly to Milan, but now he is, and so is Katai. So the backline is going to be interesting. So most people expect, Gobelic to start on one side and Gajic to start on the other. There has been, talks that maybe Srnic could start instead of either Gobelic or Gajic, depending on how Stankovic sees this team going forward. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Srnic starts. He came on in the match against Spartak Subotica and kind of gave the team some extra juice, a lot more energized. He created a lot of chances going. He had chances himself. He's been on the club. He's been on the team before. He knows what it feels like, to play for this team, and ultimately he loves the team and he gives it all every time he plays. Vukanovic is also another interesting player. I don't expect him to start. I don't even expect him to really play. Would it shock me if Stankovic started maybe Vukanovic on the right? Not really, because Vukanovic does have defensive characteristics, kind of like what Nemanja Milic had when he was with the club a few years back. He knows how to get back. He could create some chances. He's a much better creator of chances going forward than Milic was. But Milic was a guy who, you almost play with two banks of four, and he can pretty much play like a right back, right midfield, or whatever. The Ivanic and Katai situation is interesting. I don't expect either guy to start, so I think the front four will be Ben, Kanga, and Falco, as well as Falcinelli up top. Now, I expect Katai to come on at some point. Now, it wouldn't shock me if one of either Katai or Ivanic does start the match, and then at halftime, you take one off and you substitute the other guy on. That wouldn't shock me at all, because if you can get 45 minutes out of either guy, I think that would be great. With Ivanic's injury that he just picked up, I think maybe even less than 40, you can get less than 45 minutes out of him. I wouldn't push it too much. There's still a league to worry about. If we get through Milan, that's great. But I expect Katai to play a role in this match at some point, whether that's as a starter or coming off the bench. Ivanic, I'm not too sure about. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if one starts and then at halftime or, in the 50th, 55th minute, one substitutes the other off. And ultimately, we need to get Falcinelli involved. Just stick to what the team did in the first leg and you're going to be fine. Let's not go out and lose by 4 or 5 goals because we're better than that, and we showed that in the first leg. And, it's 2-2, sure. And Milan might have the upper hand because they're at home, but you never know. Like, we've beaten teams in the past that, we had no business beating, like Liverpool, for example, in the Champions League or group stages. So you never know. Just go out, do your best. The back line, I'm a little bit worried about, but I believe in them, and I believe in a good result in Milan ultimately.